Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to prop it up? Meet the PopSockets phone grip with expanding kickstand in black, your new must-have accessory. Don't miss out. Grab yours today. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Welcome to the Google Trends Hub. I'm your host today. Cybersecurity experts have been warning us about the threat of APT41 malware, and it's just been discovered that this group has been using a new tactic to spread their malicious activity, Google Calendar. Imagine being targeted by hackers who use a service you trust every day. That's exactly what happened in a recent campaign where APT41 used Google Calendar for command and control communication. They exploited the platform to hide their malicious activities, all while using legitimate cloud services. It's a clever move, but cybersecurity experts are on top of it. The malware, dubbed Tough Progress, was discovered by Google's Threat Intelligence Group, which quickly identified and dismantled the attacker-controlled Google Calendar and workspace infrastructure. But how did this happen? The attack started with a malicious email sent to targets, linking to a zip archive hosted on a previously compromised government website. Now you might be thinking, why use a zip archive? Well, it's not uncommon for attackers to use zip archives to spread their malware. And in this case, the archive contained a Windows LNK file pretending to be a PDF document, a primary payload masqueraded as a JPG image file, and a DLL file used for decrypting and launching the payload. According to Google, the files 6, JPG, and 7, JPG are fake images. The first file is actually an encrypted payload and is decrypted by the second file, which is a DLL file launched when the target clicks the LNK. This is just one example of how APT41 is using misdirection to trick their targets into clicking on malicious links. So what happens next? The DLL, known as +drop, decrypts and executes the next stage, +inject, entirely in memory. +inject then performs process hollowing on a legitimate Windows process as vhost, exe, and injects the final stage, Tough Progress. Now, Tough Progress connects to a hard-coded Google Calendar endpoint and polls specific event dates for commands. But here's the thing, APT41 is using these events to steal information from their targets. They return the results into new calendar events so they can adjust their next steps accordingly. This malware is clever, but not foolproof. Since payloads never touch the disk and communication happens over a legitimate cloud service, it's minimal for security products to flag infected hosts. However, Google has taken proactive measures to stop this threat. They identified attacker-controlled Google Calendar instances and terminated all related workspace accounts and offending calendar events. They also updated their safe browsing block list to warn users about associated sites and block traffic from those sites across all of their products. But that's not all. Google shared Tough Progress samples and traffic logs with victims, so they can pinpoint infections in their environments. This is just one example of how Google is working to protect its users from cyber threats. In conclusion, the story of APT41 using Google Calendar for malicious activity is a reminder that cybersecurity is constantly evolving. We must stay vigilant and adapt to new tactics like this one. That's all for today's episode of the Google Trends Hub. Thanks for joining us.